Bucknutters, welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Tuesday, July 11th, 2017. I am Dave Biddle. I am very happy to be joined by Duane Long. Dan Rubin is on assignment this week, so I am borrowing Duane for the day. Duane, let's go right in your wheelhouse, big guy. Let's talk some O-line. The right side of the offensive line is my biggest concern on the whole team. I know some people might be concerned about the wide receivers or the passing offense in general, the deep ball, and hey, all of those are legitimate concerns. But, man, I'm concerned about the right side of the line. Obviously, right guard, could be Matt Burrell, could be somebody else. Right tackle, can Isaiah Prince actually become a competent starter? Who do you think is going to win the right guard job? And do you think Isaiah Prince can make the necessary improvements this year?
Here's the one thing, Dave, that people just are having such a time grasping. We were not supposed to see Isaiah Prince last year. He was supposed to be, he got thrown in trial by fire because Pridgeon got hurt. You don't bring junior college guys in to sit. Junior college guys come in to play right away. And when Pridgeon went down, Prince was forced into the lineup. He was not ready. He missed most of his senior year. That's another thing people don't get. This kid is so behind on actual game reps. He was just not going to be outstanding there. It just wasn't going to happen. Wasn't in the cards, and he really wasn't supposed to be in that position. So let's see what we see this year. We've got options now, at Pridgeon being one of those, if he's not the starting right guard. That's another thing. We don't know what's going to happen there. He might be put in there, but that doesn't mean he can't kick out the right tackle, which I think is actually his most natural position. But he could be in at right guard. If Prince is just not getting it done, kick him out, put Burrell in there. We've got options. And, we got Myers coming in. We've got some young guys. I'd much rather see them in at right guard and kick Pridgeon out than try to find another right tackle to slide in there. So I'm not going to use the word optimistic. I just think it's going to work out. I think Prince is going to be better. I think Pridgeon is odds on to win that right guard job. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic about that. I'm more worried about Billy Price at center and his tendency to jump. It's so different at center. At guard, you jump, it's 5 yards. At center, you jump, quarterback's not ready, you got to fumble. So that's my biggest concern on the offensive line this year. He's got to get down on the snap count. We can't have mistakes there.
I was just about to ask you if you had to guess who's going to be the starting right guard, who would it be? And you answered that question, Malcolm Pridgeon. So is that one where you're just, you wouldn't bet a lot of money on it, but if you had to guess, that's who it's going to be? Or do you feel pretty good that Malcolm Pridgeon is going to be able to win that job at right guard?
I like how you phrase that. I think he's a guy that I think he's likely. Burrell seemed to have a good spring up, and we were looking forward to that. But I think Pridgeon is just a better athlete. I think he's just a better football player off the films that we saw, the latest films that we saw. They're not as up to date. We didn't see spring practice, but I'm not that as worried about that side as I said. I want Price to get the snap count down. Stop jumping. We cannot have it with him at center. At guard, it was an aggravation. At center, it's unacceptable.
It's interesting because I know he's very polarizing. I mean, you have some people, like I know NFL draft analyst, draft scout, Matt Miller from Bleacher Report, thinks Billy Price is going to be first-round pick. He thinks he's going to be a lot like Pat Elflein, but just bigger and stronger and more effective. You're right, though. He's going to have to cut out the penalties to even sniff, I think, the second round. But it's interesting you have people that do this for a living that think this guy could be a first-round pick. Actually, not just think he could be. He's projecting he's going to be a first-round pick. And then you have, someone like yourself who watches Ohio State 24/7 who thinks Billy Price is a concern just on the college team. He's a very polarizing player. But when you hear he could be a first-round pick, do you laugh at that? Or do you think if he really can get the penalties cleaned up that he could be perhaps that good?
Well, it's not just the penalties. It's just, he just needs to mature more. If you look at Billy Price just as an athletic lineman. He is. I can see why they would be excited about him. He can move. He's a powerhouse. He can get a lot better. But that's the thing. We need for him to get a lot better now, not when he's in the NFL. But top of the list is the penalties. He can get jammed up in pass protection too. But that I don't. Guards can do that. That's why they're guards, not tackles. It's not their strength. But yeah, he does have the physical tools to be a first round draft pick. Whether he is or not is up to him. The maturity, focus. Those are the things that is going to keep Billy Price out of the first round, and why Buckeye fans would continue to be frustrated with him.
Switching to the defensive side of the ball, any major concerns? I mean, there can be like little minor things I'm sure you're concerned about. Any major concerns for the Silver Bullets?
Well, I'm still concerned. We need to replace the safeties, Dave. We got I just am not convinced about Damon Webb based on what I've seen so far. I'm not, I call it coach speak. They can say what they want. There were too many plays last year where I saw that Damon Webb was a weak link. He's got to be better. Then we're looking at replacing the other safety. Who that's going to be? I think it's going to be Jordan Fuller, because we are not really playing free safety, strong safety anymore. You don't do that because the college game has become so pass-oriented. You want two guys that are ball hawks first. You used to play it. You wanted a guy who was you could slide down into the box and he could play like an extra linebacker as a strong safety. And in that case, Eric Smith would have been the choice. I think Jordan Fuller is going to win the job back there. Damon Webb has got to be better. That's my only concern. I think we're going to be fine at linebacker. Really, I think we're going to be pretty outstanding at linebacker. We got some young guys that are going to be pushing the starters hard. There's no doubt about that. And then on the defensive line, it's pick your poison. I can see Jalen Holmes not being a starter and getting drafted at the end of this year. So, that's the front seven I'm not the least bit worried about. And I think we're going to be fine at corner. We got too much talent there. There's too many guys that can play football, great athletes. It's safety that I'm worried about. We still need to upgrade the position, and that's something that Urban Meyer really has attacked since he's got here. And Jordan Fuller's a guy I think has won the job. And that doesn't mean Eric Smith's not going to play. I think there are going to be certain teams that you would actually want him in there rather than the superior athlete. You want a guy that can come down into the box and play against the run. So, but I think Jordan Fuller is going to be the matching pair. I still want Damon Webb to get better.
Before I let you go, Chris Worley obviously making the move to middle linebacker as a fifth-year senior, made the move in the spring. What do you expect out of Chris Worley at the mic this year?
Well, that's the concern. Here's the thing: when you move a smaller guy in there, you always want to protect that linebacker. But we tend to be a one-gap team on the front line. We're not trying to tie up blockers. That's why we have, everyone says we need a one technique. We need a one technique. We won a national championship without a one technique, and they're hard to come by, and the coaching staff just does not seem to be that concerned about it. So, but you still have to keep that in mind with a smaller guy. We can't have these 320-pound guards coming out on this kid, and he's got to try to take them on. This is not Raekwon McMillan. He's not that big. It's going to be hard for him to do that. So we've got to keep in mind up front that you can't just go. Especially against running teams, you got to protect him a little bit. Other than that, it could be a good move because, as I said earlier, the college game has become so dominated by passing. You want a more athletic guy in there, and if you can get away with it, why not do that?
Great insights, as always, from Duane Long. Thank you very much, Duane, and thanks to all the listeners out there for tuning in to the show. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.